What is up? It's Chris Gonzalez here again, back for another episode of Trade Talk Tuesdays. And it's episode number 3. And for this week's episode, I'm going to recap and provide my thoughts for Star Wars Visions, the Treasury edition. And I'm doing this in celebration for the recent release of Season 3 of the Star Wars Visions anime series that's you can currently stream it now on Disney+. And yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I really enjoyed this. It collects 4 short stories based on, mostly based on the animated show. And there's some original stories by Peach Momoko, but let me go over it. So this collects Star Wars Visions, Takashi Okazaki, and he did the first story here, and he did the story in the artwork, the English translations by Aki Yanagi, the letterer is Ariana Mayer, and the cover art again Takashi Okazaki. And I believe he also directed the episode The Duel in the first season of Visions, and his stories are based on the episode he directed, which involves the character the Ronin. So it collects that. It also collects Star Wars Visions #1, and that's again story and artwork by Takashi Okazaki, English translation Aki Yanagi, letterer is Joe Caramagna, and again Takashi Okazaki did the artwork, the cover art. And then third story collects here. It's material from Star Wars Darth Vader, Black, White, and Red #1. The story is called Inescapable, and the writer and artist is Peach Momoko. Letterer is Joe Caramagna, and then the last story is Star Wars Visions, Peach Momoko, and she did the story, artwork, and the cover as well. So first story. Go here. And again, this is bigger than a normal trade. So, man, the artwork, I just gotta say, really loved it. The first 2 stories were mostly black and white with a little hints of color. So, and this story starts off with these 2 droids wandering in a desert and pays homage to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And I really thought that was cool. And so these 2 droids are just, bantering with one another. And in the distance, you see that there is a cliff out, and that's where our story, the real story takes place. So this is the Ronin character from the Star Wars Visions episode, and he's about to duel this mysterious warrior, and this mysterious warrior has a droid. So this first story takes place before the duel episode in the Vision show, and it pretty much shows how the Ronin obtains his droid companion from that episode. So they're about to duel, and then it flashes back. But before that, like I mentioned, there's some hint of color in these first 2 stories. The red, with the red lightsabers. I love the panel layouts. It sequences the action like seamlessly. So I really dug it. You can tell what's going on in the artwork. Again, just really beautiful, man. I would have like these printed and hung up on my wall. It's so cool. So yeah, they're dueling. We find out that the warrior that the Ronin is fighting, he is also a former Sith Lord, and he's an older Sith Lord, and right here he seems to have the upper hand. So now it flashes back and it follows the older Sith Lord. So it goes then, and so it looks like a bunch of ships have like debris and parts from ships have landed in this little ravine by this cliff. So the older Sith Lord, he comes across the droid. So he saves the droid, and they become companions, and they come across this small, like, little village by the cliff. And I just thought this was very cool. And so it just goes through the daily lives of this small village and how the older Sith Lord and the droid developed a community with these aliens. So, and then they were there several years, and just over the years, their friends slowly died out, and it was just the Sith Lord and his droid. And then one night, the older Sith Lord had a vision of the Ronin showing up, and the Ronin has his droid with him. So kind of foreshadows what happens. So again, artwork by Okazaki is just, man, I would love a whole ongoing series. And this is an alternate timeline. It's not canon, so you can jump in. Anybody can jump into this. And the Sith Lord, he's at like a memorial or gravesite for all his former friends that were in the village, and he's preparing. He's about to die, and he tells his droid friend that he had that vision that he had of the Ronin. Seems to evolve the droid as well. So, and then that's where the Ronin cuts back to their duel. Again, beautiful artwork, paneling again shows the action sequences really, really well. And double page spread. So the Ronin eventually kills the older Sith Lord, and it's revealed that the older Sith Lord is a Zabrak, so the same species as Darth Maul. And then the Ronin, and this was pretty sad, the droid figures out that his longtime companion is dead. So they have a memorial for the old Sith Lord. He burns the body. And now the droid is accompanying the Ronin. So I really enjoyed that story. Really enjoyed it. Again, artwork, incredible. Incredible. So that was the first story. Second story follows the Ronin again. Well, first, it starts with this blind warrior. He also has a droid. He's walking through this snowstorm, and he comes across, in the distance, he sees that there are marauders. They're about to attack a lone warrior who's walking through, and you can see that's pretty cool. There's like a fallen AT-AT, and they're using the leg of it as a bridge to cross the chasm. So these marauders are trying to steal this guy's droid. And it is the Ronin. The Ronin's back with his droid, and I didn't notice this at first, but the droid is housed in like an AT-ST head. So the marauders attack, they're trying to steal the droid, and the Ronin, fights them off. Again, artwork, man, it's just, and I'm so glad that they limited the color, just highlighting like certain things like the lightsabers, the laser, some of the lasers. So yeah, look at that image right there. So the droid activates all the weapon systems in this AT-ST head. Really cool. And then they take out the marauders. So Eventually, the Ronin and his droid companion, they go to this hot spring, and the droid's like having an oil bath right there, and then the blind warrior with his droid comes across them and asks if he can join them. And so they start talking, and the Ronin gives the older warriors sake, so they get drunk, and they're just talking about what they've been through and the wars that they've been in. And this is another cool image. So the Ronin's just going over that he's holding all the pain that he has suffered throughout the years. And I just love this image. This is like, he goes over that he's killed a lot of enemies, and it indicates that he's killed all these Sith Lords. So, and then the blind warrior goes over his past of fighting in the war, and one day he was struck by lightning. And another cool image. And then he had a vision of his own. Look at that. So he meets the father. So this, I'm not sure if this is meant to be the father from the Mortis arc, but that's what I got from it. So could be not, you know, again, this is not canon. So the father tells the blind warrior that he has to visit this temple, Ilu Joji, and that's where he'll find truth. So that this blind warrior has been on a quest to find this temple. And the Ronin, he's heard of the temple as well. And then it's a funny moment where the Ronin's droid is playing a dice game with these Ewoks, and the Ronin's like, yeah, the blind warrior, he's like, wow, I never seen a gambling loving droid before. And the Ronin's like, well, he just likes playing with the dice. So, and then the blind warrior mentions like, yeah, over in some village they mentioned that a lone warrior with a red lightsaber killed a lot of marauders. So the morning comes, and then they start to depart, and the blind warrior asks the Ronin if he can join him, so he follows him. They're still bantering. And then as they're about to depart, the Ronin asks, hey, did you forget something? And he's like, what? Oh, aren't you supposed to kill me? So they begin to draw their weapons. Again, if you like samurai films, you would love this. So it is revealed that blind warrior is a Jedi master, and he has a purple lightsaber. Again, really dope image. And through their brief fight, the Jedi master actually cuts one of the Ronin's lightsabers. Yeah, it's pretty, no one dies, but the Jedi master lets the Ronin off the hook. He's like, until we meet again. So both of the droids wave goodbye to one another. So another solid story. And then we get into Peach Momoko's story. And this is material from the Darth Vader Black, White, and Red. And I think that's already been collected before, but it's about this woman right here. I guess she's worked under Darth Vader, but there's no dialogue in either of the Peach Momoko stories. So she just has visions of Darth Vader, man. Look at this artwork though, man. Peach Momoko, she's one of my favorite artists working today. Again, she's killing it on Ultimate X-Men. Anytime she has a variant cover, I try to get her covers. So I hope I can meet her one day, but again, not that many colors, but the red, man, look at this. So she's just having nightmares of Darth Vader. And that's pretty much it for that story. So just the visuals are really good. Really good. So that's pretty much it. Not too much. And she's just having a nightmare wakes up, and yeah, that was pretty much it. And then the second story, to be honest, I was pretty confused because again, there's no dialogue, but if you read the excerpt in the back, it tells you, it gives you more story details. So you start in this on this planet. It looks like there's a cult. There's a cult that are worshiping the dark side, and they're the cult of Anak. So pretty much this head figure is sacrificing the cult's followers, I guess, you know, to obtain more power. And very trippy and horror-esque images, and I just love Peach Momoko's aesthetic. Like, it seems like a water painting or watercoloring. This. So yeah, this cult leader, she's absorbing the life essence of the followers. Again, I'm assuming to gain more power in the dark side. Kind of what happened in episode 9 with when Palpatine absorbs Kylo and Rey's life essence. So this girl, you find out that she has a droid guardian. She's in the cult, but doesn't like what the cult leader is doing to her village, so follows her, and she comes across this other girl. Yeah, so this girl, I believe her name is, what's her name? Keiko and Gel, I believe, is the girl and her droid. But yeah, so really dug it. So they go back to the cult, and the little girl that follows Keiko and Gel sees what the cult's doing, you know, and she doesn't like it. So again, the leader of the cult, her name is Tata. Yeah, Tata. So she calls up Keiko, and you know, she tries to absorb her life essence. Again, visuals are crazy. So yeah, and again, the little girl that accompanies Keiko and Gel, she fires off her blaster and saves Keiko. So, and then it's revealed that Keiko also has a lightsaber. So, is she force sensitive? We don't really know, but she has a lightsaber and she kills the Tata. And then eventually the little girl helps her, and they go off, and it seems like another one of the followers absorbs Tata's dark energy, I guess, and now the cycle continues, and that's pretty much it. And some of the extras include, you know, variant covers, some sketches by Peach Momoko. So that was pretty much it. Yeah, a bunch of sketches. Again, beautiful artwork. I love the oversized format. I mean, I think they're coming out with a standard size edition, but yeah, if you like Peach Momoko's artwork and you're a big fan of anime and Star Wars Visions, I highly recommend getting the Treasury edition. Very nice. And yeah, that was it. Those were my thoughts and the recap of this trade. And so I hope you enjoy it. Like, comment, subscribe it if you haven't done so already. And for next week's episode, I'm going to be, speaking of Peach Momoko, I'm going to be going over her Ultimate X-Men run that I mentioned earlier. It's the Volume 3 trade paperback is coming out this week, so I'll read that and I'll give my thoughts and recap on, you know, that trade next week. So again, thank you again for watching, Have a good day.